Hello, everybody. Hope you are good. I am Emma, and we've got a little 10-minute breakdown for us today. So, we often do vinyasas in some of the flows that we might do with Passa. You might have seen them elsewhere in other yoga classes, yoga flows, stretching classes, even, because they can be a really good kind of connector between one phase or one part of what you're doing to another. So, I thought if we just break it down for a moment and we can learn the different parts of it, what it's going to kind of use in our bodies, then maybe it can be more effective next time we go into it. Or at least we've got a couple of those pathways thinking, oh, I remember that should be maybe involved in this too. So at the core of a vinyasa is the fact that it's four movements pretty much, and they kind of flow together in one sequence. And these four movements are going to be quite heavy on some hip and shoulder work, but also some core. And it's really important that you don't forget about the core because actually, through most parts of it, it's incredibly useful. But we can also completely ignore it and forget that it's existing if we just want to not worry about it that day. So the aim is to think about it every single time, and not just forget that your core in this particular sequence does exist. Obviously, if you were absolutely knackered one day, maybe you should have just slept rather than do yoga. But it's not going to be as engaged as it would if you had loads of energy and you were able to really fire up that core. Anyway, let's get going. So the start of vinyasa tends to be from a press up position or a high plank. So we've probably all done these before with different things from Lil, maybe elsewhere, but we kind of know this high plank position. We're on 4 points on our mats. Our shoulders are directly above our wrists and our heels are pressing back away from us. Now just remember, in this high plank position, we kind of want to be lifting up through our chest. So pressing away from your mat and really trying to open up through your back behind you. So it's not that we're completely doming ourselves up here. We're not in a V shape and we're not kind of holding down in this U shape. We've got one long line down our bodies. So we start here from our vinyasa, and then here is where we have a few options. So we're going to do one option first, and then we'll take you through the second one. Our first option is to bring our knees down first. So this might be the case if your arms are feeling pretty tired one day. We're going to keep our knees down. Toes can stay tucked for the moment, but then we're going to bring our chest all the way down. Now notice that that movement is not like a throw my core on the mat and then let my chest follow. I'm not snaking to the ground. I'm having nice, slow, steady control. My whole body is kind of lowering at once. And that really is what we're thinking about when we're looking at our vinyasas. Toes are then untucking, hands staying as they are. We take a big roll of our shoulders and then we're opening up through our chest. And this is called a cobra. Now, I'm quite low in this cobra right now, but you may be higher up in a cobra, slightly more of a back bend. You may be lower down. The main point about your cobra is that, again, you're opening up through your chest, but you're keeping your hands pretty close to the mat and your lower body, down on the ground. So we've got this big heart opener at the front, and we've got quite an intense intense curl up through those spines. So from your cobra, however high you might be, and it's absolutely fine to be here, we then tuck our toes again, press ourselves back, our hips go towards our heels. So it's almost like the back in a child's pose if you've done those before. And then you press up from here, using your core strength to lift back into what's called a downward facing dog. So we've again done this quite a few times, but it's this V position where we're trying to send our hips as high as they can go, draw our heels closer down towards the mat, and send our chest through our arms. So let's come back into this high plank position. So this is our starting point generally for our vinyasas. Again, we're just going to come down and take that slow, controlled lower. So knees first, and then coming all the way down with your chest, your tummy. Now, one thing that we want to look at here is our elbows. So when we do a normal press up, we might bring our elbows out to the side. We might call it a tricep press up and bring our elbows back behind us. From a yoga perspective, generally it's tricep press ups. Now, it doesn't have to be, but in this way, we are going to really think about that slow motion. And I know we love a little slow motion rep in Passa. So please do think about that slow control when you're lowering down, because what we don't want to do is just hit ourselves on the ground. Not only because, you might hurt yourself, but also because we're not really getting that benefit of the strength and flow through the movement. So we've done that first one. We're going to do it one more time just to get it through in that sequence. So starting at a high plank, knees coming down, chest and tummy slowly lowering onto your mat as your toes untuck, taking a big roll of your shoulders as you lift into that cobra. Our elbows are trying to draw behind us, our belly buttons are trying to draw forwards. And then we're pressing our hands down into the mat. Toes tuck, hips come back to your heels. Lift yourself all the way up, downward facing dog. Okay, this is option one. We can do this every single time. We can do it over and over again if you feel like you want to. We can do it many, many times in many different places. Option two is just a little bit stronger, and it's basically using a full push-up variation and then going into an up dog. So the actual movements are pretty much the same. It's just that bit more strength through your upper body and a bit more stretch through our core as well. So we come forward into this high plank. And then instead of putting our knees down here, we're lowering our whole body. Now, some people will say only lower back to here, to elbow height. Some people will say go lower. I say go wherever works for you. So for me, I'm going to come all the way down. Again, using this tricep variation. So my elbows are staying close to my ribs, lowering all the way down close towards my mat. And then I'm rolling my way forward into an up dog. The difference between our up dogs and our cobras is that my lower body is now off the mat as well. So it's just the tops of my feet, if you can see, that are pressing into the ground. And my quads are super, super strong, squeezing so I can lift through my upper body too. So squeezing through my legs, squeezing through my glutes, and then opening that bit more through my chest. So it's a bit more intense through this back bend. From here, I'm pressing into my hands, shifting my hips up, use that core strength to roll completely up and over my toes back into our downward dog. Should we take that one more time? So from your downward dog, again, you can flow with that knees first option for that now if you wish. Coming forwards into a high plank. We're then lowering down maybe knees first or maybe whole body through our chaturanga. Rolling forwards onto the tops of your feet or coming into your cobra. Remember, in that up dog, we're squeezing our thighs, so knees are lifted, press strong through the tops of your feet into the ground. And then use our core strength, everybody, to lift back, either through almost a child's pose or up and over your toes to move back to our downward facing dog. Now you will notice, particularly as we've slowed that down, hair everywhere, that is fairly strong as a movement, particularly that second option. If you go slow, that's going to really start firing up those shoulders. So first of all, as I said before, please take whichever option feels right for you on the day. And second of all, know that you can use that if you wanted just to have a little bit of a warm up. If you're in the gym and you're about to do some upper body things, feel free to come back to this. Obviously, you can just do a press up, but if you wanted to actually come into a bit more of a flow and kind of get that slightly more sequence, fluid, mind-body connection, you could also use this. It's really kind of heat building for upper body, so it works really well. Last thing I wanted to cover is just how we breathe through that vinyasa. So we've kind of nailed those movements. We know roughly what we're doing. We're going to keep flowing through it. But actually how we breathe through it is really helpful, and it can help us move better as we go through it as well. So starting back in this high plank, our aim here through a vinyasa is to take a deep breath in. Now you might have taken a deep breath in to get to this point, and then we kind of carry on into it. But from where we're starting today, just for this solid vinyasa, we're taking a deep breath in here. So lifting up through your chest, press into the mat, deep breath in through your nose. Now, as we come down, we're exhaling. So slow release down as you breathe out. Coming into our cobra, we breathe in, opening up through our chest. Maybe you're in that up dog again. Elbows drawing back behind you, so you've got all this space in front of us. And then exhale as you press yourself back, downward dog. Okay, one more time, breathing in as you move forwards. Breathing out as you lower. Inhale to open up into your chest. Breathing out, coming all the way back. Downward facing dog. Let's bring our knees back down. There we go. We've had a little play around with our vinyasa. Maybe you have more questions. Please ask me in the chat. Go and have a think. And maybe you just want to Google something else online. There are also other variations of a vinyasa that we didn't come on to. There's something called a scorpion vinyasa. You can take two presses as well once you come down and again build a bit more heat through your shoulders. It's really up to you seeing how you want to use that vinyasa on the day. Maybe it's more of a restorative moment, or maybe actually you're really looking for that extra bit of heat. So please work with your body, listen to your body, do what you need to. For now, I'll leave you there, but thank you very, very much for joining me. And I hope you enjoyed learning a little bit more about this bit of what we do. Bye bye.